Well, hello, friends. Woo, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Words Matter. Over the last few episodes, we've been laying a powerful foundation for confidence. Brick by brick, layer by layer, we began with something simple but often overlooked, keeping promises to ourselves. Because confidence starts with self trust, and self trust starts with follow through. From there, we stepped into I can, learning to believe in our own possibility. Then came I will, because belief without action, it just doesn't go very far. We followed it with I must, because when we tie action to something deeper, something non negotiable, we find our inner fire. And last week we explored I am, because who we believe we are shapes every step we take. And now, today, we arrive at I did. Because confidence doesn't just come from belief, it comes from proof. Today's quote brings that into focus. It's by Peter T. McIntyre. Confidence comes from not always being right, but from not fearing to be wrong. Let that settle in for a second. Confidence doesn't live in perfection, friends. It lives in courage, in action, in the willingness to show up, even when the outcome is uncertain, even when fear is present, even when you know there's a chance that you might get it wrong. Because confidence is built. It's not imagined. And it's built through the moments where you did the hard thing, the aligned thing, the brave thing, despite the discomfort. But here's where so many of us struggle. We brush past our wins. We downplay our effort. We skip over growth that cost us everything to earn. We say things like, it wasn't that big of a deal, or anyone would have done that, or it's just what had to be done. But, friend, no, they wouldn't have. And yes, it matters because you matter. See, every time you rose when it would have been easier to quit, every time you honored a boundary, told the truth, made a better choice, every step forward you took when it was scary or exhausting or silent, that is your proof. That is your I did. But let's pause here for a second for an important distinction. Not every I did is worth carrying forward. Some of the things we've done pulled us away from who we want to be. And we can learn from those, but we don't build our confidence on them. We don't need a record of regret. We need a mirror that reflects our strength. So before you name something as proof, ask yourself, did it align with the life I want to build? Was it congruent with who I'm becoming? Because the last thing we want is for our I did list to be filled with evidence of how we stayed stuck. All the ways we avoided, reacted, numbed, shut down. Yeah, sure. Those things happened and they hold lessons, but they're not the proof we want to anchor our identity in. We're not here to glorify the chaos. We're here to highlight the moments that moved us forward, even if they were small, even if they were messy, and especially if they were hard. Let your reflection be a mirror for your strength, not a scoreboard for your shame. And here's where perfectionism can steal the whole thing. Because perfectionism says, unless it was flawless, it doesn't count. It convinces you to ignore your own progress, to discount your bravery, to question your enoughness over and over and over again. And research backs this up. Perfectionism is directly tied to lower self esteem, higher anxiety, and chronic procrastination because the fear of not doing it perfectly keeps us frozen. And even when we do act, we dismiss the outcome as not good enough. And over time, that pattern chips away at our self confidence. But I did interrupts that cycle. It reminds you of what's already true. It says, let me show you the steps I took, the patterns I broke, the promises I've kept, the progress I've made. And it reminds you that fear doesn't get the final word. Your proof does. So how do we keep that proof close? How do we keep our confidence rooted in what's real? Well, one of the most powerful ways is a tool that I introduced you to back in episode 2, one I created called Ace the Day. It's a simple reflection that you can do daily or whenever you need to reconnect. ACE stands for accomplishments, challenges, and excitements. Every day you ask yourself, what did I do today that I'm proud of? What challenged me and what did I learn from it? What did I overcome because of it? And what am I looking forward to? This practice keeps us grounded in momentum, and it reminds us every day that we're building something. But if ACE doesn't fit you and what you do and how you do it, just choose something else. How about starting an I did journal? Maybe make it a weekly ritual. Use it as a note on your phone or a voice memo or sticky note on the fridge. What matters is that you pause, that you reflect, that you remember, that you focus. Because when the voice of fear says you're not enough, your I dids speak louder. When perfectionism says you didn't do it right, your I dids say, but I did do it. And that matters. So today I invite you to pause, write down 3 things you did. Not what you wish you would have done, not what still is on your to-do list, but 3 moments, big or small, that reflect your growth, your grit, or your grace. And when you're done, read each one out loud and say, I did, I did, I did. Say it over and over until it feels real. Say it until fear softens. Say it until your shoulders drop and you remember you've been becoming all along. Because that's the beautiful part of confidence, friends. It doesn't require perfection. It requires proof. And you've already got that. So when the next hard thing comes, and it will, you'll rise up, you'll remember, and you'll say it with even more conviction. I did, and I will again. Friends, the words we see and read, the words we hear, and the words we say to ourselves and about ourselves, about what we're doing and how we're doing it, they all matter. Your words matter because you matter. Have a great day.